Greetings everybody. I hope you're all well and keeping on with the coping of our lockdown and all its challenges. We're here for yet another talk. Remember the last time I spoke about, ended off with the point on deception, and I mentioned one Bible verse where Jesus Christ gave a very strong warning about false teachers and false prophets and people who will claim to be him. And if it comes from the Lord's mouth, then we must know that it's not something to take lightly. Another verse that I'd like to bring to you is in chapter 2 of 2 Thessalonians, where there's a strong warning also given by Paul concerning deception, and also second book of Peter, chapter 2. But let me perhaps start off with 2 Peter, which also similar to Matthew 24, claims about false teachers and their destruction. And let me just read it for you so you can be reminded and you can study it on your own perhaps. But there were also false prophets among the people, just as there will be false teachers among you. They will secretly introduce destructive heresies, even denying the sovereign Lord who brought them, bringing swift destruction on themselves. So there Peter gives a very strong warning, and you can study it further. It says more things there. And in 2 Thessalonians, there's another strong warning about deception. Perhaps I'll read the whole thing for you here, and I can unpack a few points there. Concerning the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ and our being gathered to him, we ask you, brothers, not to become easily unsettled or alarmed by some prophecy, report, or letter supposed to have come from us, saying that the day of the Lord has already come. Don't let anyone deceive you in any way, for that day will not come until the rebellion occurs and the man of lawlessness is revealed. Wow, that's a mouthful, eh? But the point that I'm raising here is that we mustn't be deceived about this. Just to place this into context, Paul was talking or writing to the church of Thessalonica, and there was some confusion there. Some people were already being deceived, and Paul had to go and do some cleanup work or fix-up work in terms of what's the truth. And so he said that they mustn't be unsettled or concerned about the coming of the Lord, because some had believed that the Lord had come for the second time, and all kinds of false things were going around at that time, and that's a way back, eh? And he said, no, there's two things that must happen before the coming of the Lord, and those two things is that the rebellion must occur. The rebellion, and some Bibles or the original Greek puts it as apostasia, which we use the term apostasy. It's like the falling away from the true belief. You believed, there's a group that believed, but then they turn their backs on the belief at some stage. So that is talking about the rebellion or apostasy. It is one of the things that must happen first, and then the lawless one must be revealed. The lawless one is another term for the Antichrist. So that has not happened even in our time yet. The Antichrist has not been revealed yet. So the church or the believers should not be confused or deceived at this stage. Just as Paul had warned then, the warning is still for us, that the Lord did not come yet, even if people claim so, because these two things must happen. So the believers, the church, must be looking out for that. Now, coming back to the point of deception, You know, it's happened already many times, and the two examples I mentioned to you before was of Jim Jones, and you know how he got his people to commit suicide, over 900, almost 1,000, in the jungle of South America. And David Koresh, who was also a very good teacher of the Bible, but somehow or other he got deceived and he led his people into destruction also there in Waco, Texas. I can give you many other examples, but I'd like to actually point out those two because people don't see how serious this deception thing is. Remember, the biggest or the strongest weapon of Satan is deception. He did it in Genesis 1 in the Bible, where he deceived Eve in the Garden of Eden. Just remember that Eve and Adam walked with the Lord on a daily basis. The Lord was present with them, and yet Satan managed to deceive Eve, and eventually even Adam was deceived, and that is where the fall of man came, and that's why we have this fallen world that we presently live in. And now coming to society, I want to just conclude at this point. You know, in society there's a lot of deception taking place, besides what I mentioned about Jesus Christ. So even on the political and the social level, you'll find that people are sold a lot of powerful lies from powerful media. And not many times people are perceptive to pick it up. Now that we have the elections in the United States of America on the doorstep, I'd like to talk more about it perhaps at another time. But you know, the Americans are sold a bill of lies by a very powerful media like CNN and others, but CNN stands out to me. And even the world, yeah, in South Africa, people are eating or absorbing these lies as if they are truth. And so there's an example of a lot of deception taking place. And since the elections is around the corner, yeah, in November, I'd like to talk on another time about deception as it comes out from the media, and how people are being led down the garden path about what is the truth. Those people who have doubts about what I'm saying, you know, maybe you could do some research on the group called Antifa in America, and look also at what the Black Lives Matter, their manifesto, what it really says, what they really believe, what they really want to achieve. And with that, I'd like to say stay blessed, stay well, keep safe from the virus, and let us be thankful for what God has given us today. Thank you.